Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. These are the most recent updates of our current reigning two-time Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy. And just about a month ago, everyone was saying Ramy is beatable at this year's Mr. Olympia. You know, Ramy's going to be off his game. But honestly, from the recent updates that I've been seeing, all I'm seeing is three-time Mr. Olympia. Look at the width of Big Ramy from shoulder to shoulder. This guy is just so wide. Barely fits into this door frame when he hits his hands on hip, most muscular. And even though Big Ramy is about 335 pounds right now, maybe even heavier than that, his shoulder to waist ratio is just insane. And when I take a look at this side chest, the first thing that jumps out to me is just the density of Big Ramy. From shoulder to shoulder as well as chest to back, just so much muscle packed onto this frame. And take a look when he pulls back for this rear lat spread. The thickness in the upper back is just unbelievable, and when he opens up, just as wide as the door frame, guys. Big Ramy is definitely going to be a problem at this year's Olympia. He's working, and he's definitely coming for their third title. It's going to be very hard for anyone to beat Big Ramy, and he is a two-time champ. As we know, you have to knock out the champ, and this is going to be a very hard guy to beat. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about these recent updates of Big Ramy? And switching over to another massive bodybuilder, Nick Walker actually put this training footage up today, and he said things are changing in the description. So I'm guessing that Nick is actually getting to the point of his prep where he's starting to shed off some weight, and we can see a little bit more definition than what we were seeing previously. But Nick Walker just looks huge in this, guys. Even though it isn't a physique update, Nick Walker just looks massive, and I definitely wanted to share this. Where do you guys think Nick Walker is going to place at this year's Mr. Olympia? You know, is he going to improve on that 5th place placing? Could he potentially be as high as top 3, you know, top 2? Could it be Nick Walker and Big Ramy battling out at this year's Mr. Olympia? Now, the next update of the day, we have another update from Samson Dauda at 330 pounds. And this guy just amazes me how he carries so much mass and still has a good shape. But granted, Samson is about 5'11". This guy is going to be a problem as well at this year's Mr. Olympia. Samson's ceiling is so high, he can honestly place as high as top 6, you know, top 8. He only needs to bring up the back a bit. This guy's side chest, the thickness, guys. This is one of the best side chests we probably have in the open division, in my personal opinion. And as you guys know, Samson is also one of the best posers in open, maybe the best. And we can see that he has made some improvements in the back. Honestly, Samson has just grew everywhere, and I'm excited to see how much of this mass is going to stick around once he dies down for this year's Mr. Olympia. And once again, so much hype being pumped into so many other guys, but I'm pretty sure that Samson is one of the guys we're waiting to see the most at this year's Mr. Olympia. Definitely made a name for himself last year at the Arnold Classic and the Boston Pro, placing 4th, and also winning last year's Prague Pro, beating out Nathan Diasha, and that was his first time beating Nathan. But Samson is massive, man, and ready to see him compete. Switching over to Michal Krizo, who put up this side chest today, and this is probably one of his best poses. Outside of the back double and the rear lat spread, I believe Krizo can stand toe-to-toe with the top guys already. This side chest is very impressive. And huge shout out to Michal Krizo's team. They did comment on my last video. Thanks for the shout out. And Krizo is planning to do the Olympia Amateur in Italy in 7 weeks to earn the pro card. So after that, I think he's going to do the Prague Pro show to actually try to earn his qualification for this year's Mr. Olympia. But Krizo, Good Vito, and Andrew Jack, they're all making things very interesting in the world of bodybuilding. And this is also recent training footage put up by Michal Krizo, who is training arms once again. I would actually like to see him go through a back workout. But if you guys aren't subbed to Krizo's YouTube, definitely go sub. It is Krizo in all caps. He actually used lower weights than what I would expect him to use, so I guess he has a great mind-muscle connection. But this guy is freaky, and I'm excited to see him earn his pro card. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Hassan Mostafa. This isn't much, but I definitely wanted to share it with you guys. Hassan does look massive. And as we seen in my last video, he definitely knows how to get in condition now with his coach AJ Sims. And going into this year's Mr. Olympia, I think Hassan is going to make a bigger impact than what he did last year. And I'm excited for it. I'm always happy to see guys succeed. And switching over to Good Vito, I know I'm a little late on the Vito stories. I just started covering him. But he did move to Brazil to basically get closer to turning pro in the NPC. And he will be going for his pro card this year. I'm not sure exactly when that is or if he's trying to get to this year's Mr. Olympia. But this guy looks incredible, and he's incredibly wide for his height. I'm not 100% sure how tall he is. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. But he only looks about 5'7", 5'8", but he is very wide. And these are the latest updates from Justin Rodriguez, Mr. Consistent. And if you guys have been following the channel for a while, Justin was pretty much in every news video just because he puts out updates every single day. But switching over to Coach George Farrer has been great for him. Honestly, I don't think anything was wrong between him and AJ Sims, but that's just my personal opinion. Justin looks better and better in every single physique update he puts out. And I think some people forget about him. You know, Justin was 8th at last year's Olympia. He did beat out Keone Williams. So if Justin gets to this year's Mr. Olympia, guys definitely have to watch out. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from James Hollingshead ahead of the Arnold Classic UK. And James has some crazy legs, man. But I still think he's going to need more thickness, especially chest to back and the upper body, to be competitive with some of the top guys. James is a taller guy, I believe about 5'10", maybe even 5'11", so it just takes a little bit more time to fill out the frame. But a lot of people are really rooting for James, and I heard some people say they don't think Martin Fitzwater can beat James Hollingshead. What do you guys think about that? And switching over to 212, this is the latest from Keone Pearson, who seems to be keeping it pretty tight going into this year's Mr. Olympia. And once again, I believe Keone was overshadowed a bit by the Kamal and Akeem, as well as the Andrew Jack hype. But this guy looked incredible and he finally nailed it. Now, Keone would definitely have to work on controlling his midsection, which became a little bit glaring since he finally nailed his conditioning. But other than that, Keone is definitely going to be a top contender at this year's 212 Olympia. First call out for sure, as long as he nails his conditioning. And switching over to the Arnold Classic controversy, huge shout out to Buys and Tries for pretty much the next 5 pictures. If you guys don't know, there's been a lot of backlash going on between the Arnold Classic and competitors for not including some of the women's divisions at the Arnold Classic, and specifically the figure division. A lot of people spoke out about this, and Brett Wilkins' wife, Ivana Ivusic, put up a video on her page. You guys should definitely go check that out, and she gave her thoughts on that. And this was a statement put out by the executive director of the Arnold Classic, and he was basically saying that the field isn't deep enough, so I guess he's saying there isn't enough top competitors at the show. That's just the way I took it, but I'm not 100% sure. And Lee Priest actually gave his opinion on this, and he pretty much said that everyone should boycott the Arnold Classic. You know, the athletes' rep should be standing up for everyone, and the men or the women shouldn't compete unless they allow more divisions. Specifically, figure and 212 hasn't been at the Arnold Classic for a while as well. And he also said, too bad the fitness, bikini, and wellness girls don't stand up for the others and say if they're not doing it, then we are doing it either. So basically, Lee Priest is saying at least the women should boycott it to try to get the figure division there. But honestly, the Arnold Classic is a very prestigious show. And just because, you know, you're a 212 or figure competitor, I believe they still should have the right to have an Arnold Classic title. Now, this is just me personally, but there are a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I still want to share this news with you guys because I found it very interesting, and I don't see anyone else talking about it. And something else I found very interesting that no one else seems to be talking about, our current reigning 2-time women's physique Olympia champion, Sarah Villegas, actually gave out her 2nd annual Women's Physique Distinction Award. And if I'm not mistaken, this 15 grand comes straight from her pocket. And if not, she's able to scrap up the money, you know, for the winner of the women's physique division, specifically at this year's Texas Pro. So that's just incredible that a reigning champion is doing something like this. And as you guys know, women's physique is also another division that isn't at the Arnold Classic. And Sarah Villegas has said personally that she will pay out of her pocket to have the women's physique division at the Arnold Classic. And this is definitely a champion move. No one is talking about this at all, but our current reigning champion is taking $15K. If not straight out of her pocket, she's getting it some kind of way and putting more money into the division. And ending this video here with my archive of the day. As always, you guys let me know in the comment section below which legendary bodybuilder is this. And even better if you guys can name the show and the year as well. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.